number 9 of the wonderful, amazing Psychic Warfare to Defeat Aging, where instead of looking at psychic warfare to make people ill or kill them, which most people aren't interested in, we're going to something which everyone's interested in, which is using Russian and American research developed by yours truly, way beyond their starting point, to heal you. Now, we talk about the sublime good building, which we build in C-space, and we go around in a clockwise spiral up. We're going to have 100 rooms, all of which have capability for you, and you lodge your C-space being in the sublime good building to protect it from outside interference. And the key to the sublime good building is your $1,000 Defeat Aging with Psychic Warfare service, and you've got your 2 keys to enter the building. And if you're like me, you keep them on you or within your energy field 24/7, so you never leave the building. Now we got up to room 18 and we talked about quantum waves, archetypes splitting into 2, and you can produce a quantum wave from the wave and the particle, and then converting the particle into wave and the wave into the particle to produce a quantum wave. And now we go back to shamanism, Don Juan and Carlos Castaneda, which according to Wikipedia and Google and the rest is fraudulent. Carlos Castaneda and all his works are fraud and crap, and he died and his women followers died or whatever. But we're throwing the bathwater out with the baby. My supposition is that the Castaneda books are correct in every way, apart from the characters. The content, though, is actually right on the money. Where Castaneda got the content from, be it Don Juan or a top secret US program to contact interdimensionals, or an ascended master, or whatever, is debatable. But actually the content of the Castaneda books is correct from my viewpoint as a scientist. Other scientists would dispute this because, of course, they can't do any of the Castaneda stuff because they're low energy beings and not Nagwals with the 4-lobed energy body, which is vital to be the psi initiator. Now, in room 18, we talked about archetypes, and then we went into the quantum wave. Now we go into something called recollection, which is that everyone that you've ever interacted with from conception builds quantum wave linkages with you. The shamans call this energy filaments, and you spend decades in a darkened room breathing out the filaments, breathing in the filaments that you gave to them, going through your entire life history from conception to the present day, which seems to me rather boring. But when you think of the quantum wave, which we built from an archetype, if you're linked to other people, then by a quantum wave, that quantum wave, particle, wave, particle, which builds a quantum wave which self-propagates like EM radiation, will produce in you archetypes from other people. This seems innocuous, but if you look, like myself, into RNAi, which is interference of proteins built by messenger RNA from RNA exogenous, outside, or endogenous, and hairpin RNAi can cause almost permanent blockage of any protein in your body. We look at epigenetics, where tags on the protein coat, which surrounds the DNA, controls which genes are read, which genes are not. And cell signal transduction, where minute ligands, which are chemicals that bind to protein receptors above, on or below the surface of your cell membrane, control what happens in the cell and epigenetics, and can link up with RNAi. And don't even need to be physical, but can be 5G, 4G, or even worse, quantum waves, which change the conformation of the protein receptor to switch it on or off. And the archetypes from other people, be they cancer archetypes, diabetes archetypes, dementia archetypes, Weil's disease archetypes, immune deficiency archetypes, tumor suppressor gene dysfunction archetypes, oncogene archetypes that switch on your cancer genes, and a whole host of other things, can affect you via quantum waves from every person you've interacted with since your conception. So the people that your mother have met while she was pregnant, linked to you. The people that go, ooh, nice baby, when you're in your cot, interact with you. Your parents, friends at school, relations, workmates, girlfriends, boyfriends, university friends, etc. All are building quantum self-propagating waves with you, which the shamans call filaments. And all of these, as we've shown, are archetypes. So the archetype of that person and the diseases within them are added to you via every interaction. Unless, of course, you've met an avatar or a Jesus and had a spiritual guru who guided you throughout your life. These quantum self-propagating waves, these filaments, are going to be infectious and changing you against your will to be someone you're not, and will interfere with healthy living. And the people around you will age, grow old, the most beautiful women turn into hags, handsome men turn into old gits. All of this being propagated into you. So until I've come along, the severity of the problem has never been explicated. And until the scientists very recently started uncovering the full scope of epigenetics, cell signal transduction, and RNAi, there was no scientific mechanism for this to happen. Now, of course, there is. And quantum interactions between humans will, of course, occur. Why? Because it's science. We're all quantum mechanical entities. It's just that primitive humans haven't been able to take quantum mechanics from the very small to the big human size. Here, since I've unified general relativity and quantum mechanics, we have a unified field theory where the quantum wave changes you by changing protein conformation, which is a quantum phenomenon, on the cell surface, which then sets up a cascade of signals in the cells, which controls your epigenetic genome, and which gene is on, which gene is off. Reading the blueprint and controlling the architect and the builders that build the building. Now, if we take it from a purely quantum mechanical point of view, and that everyone you meet in your life is a quantum wave function, then from quantum mechanics, everyone you meet has the spooky effect of being linked to you forever because you've contacted them. This is part of quantum mechanics. So when quantum mechanical wave functions meet and then interact and part, they're connected no matter how far apart they are. This quantum mechanical physics means that if something happens to this particle, it will have an effect on that particle. If something affects this quantum wave function, which you've met in the past, it will affect this quantum wave function. This spooky fraction of the distance is used for quantum computing and quantum teleportation, which you can look up on Google. But the point is that everyone you meet in your life, if they're a quantum wave function, which they are, and you can decouple an archetype into a quantum wave by what I showed in the past video, means that everyone you've met in your life has shackled you to the archetypes they broadcast into you in that interaction. And since, of course, each archetype is part of their chaos, self-similarity, their physical mental state is broadcast into you and locks you into the common consensus, which is what is possible for humans. So even if you're in one of the military psychic warfare programs, you are constrained with what you can do by what is allowed by the people you've interacted with throughout your life. Now in shamanism, getting rid of these interactions, this quantum wave interaction, is called recollection, where you simply start from the first things you could remember, lying in a darkened room, and blow out the filaments, which are the quantum wave from that interaction back to the person, and breathe back the quantum wave that you gave to the person. They call them filaments, energy linkages. The spooky interconnectedness of the quantum world. So even from a physicist's point of view, every interaction you have with another observer, which is another human, or a cat, or your dog, or your parakeet, or your goldfish, will link you to them by the interconnectedness of quantum mechanics. You can look up this on the internet to read up on it, or just simply just get Penrose's The Road to Reality book and read through the quantum sections of that. Because it's a very easy read, I must admit. The Penrose book is The Road to Reality, is the everyman's guide to physics and maths, and anyone with half a brain can read through it in half a day. Now continuing with recollection, you go through your entire life to get rid of these interactions, which, as you can see, have a profound effect on your ability to do anything, including making yourself young again, because remember, everyone around you doesn't believe that psychic warfare can make you young again, or that once you've got terminal cancer, you can simply cure yourself from it. Or once you've got diabetes, you can simply say, no, I get my body to get rid of it. Or dementia. Fast onset dementia like Terry Pratchett. Nah, get rid of it. Or heart disease. Nah, get rid of it. The blueprint can eliminate all of that. But the epigenetics, which you get from your parents and your grandparents, locks you into that. I'm taking it even further. Everyone you've interacted with and their epigenetics and their quantum field and their DNA and their cell signal transduction and their RNAi and their observation lock you into a gestalt of sickness and ill health, which they've constructed, which shamans call the common consensus. So as you can see, it's vital to start recollection and spend the next 20 years, 30 years, going through every single interaction, getting rid of it, before you can evolve and do anything. And as you can see, Scientology, with their auditors which do this, and outsource it to an auditor, are a godsend to people who simply couldn't spend 8 hours a day recollecting until they got rid of all their quantum wave interactions. Now you can see why Scientology's got a bad press, because the basic core premise is that. That's the basic core premise of Scientology. All the rest, which was built up after L. Ron Hubbard, who got the technology from Aleister Crowley via Aleister Crowley's OTO representative in the US. All of that technology enables Scientologists who are fully audited and cleared to be able to do things that normal people can't do. Whatever else, all the other stuff that goes on with Scientology can be thought of as developments of building it into whatever. But the basic core premise is correct. As a scientist, I want to look at ways of improving on this, because I'm not going to spend 20 years in a darkened room going through every single person I've ever met from what I can remember to the present day, because that bored me shitless. I'd rather take a bullet in the brain than do that. Fuck that for a game of soldiers. I want to drink beer and enjoy myself. So there must be an easier way. And of course there is, if you're a super genius like me. Because remember, we talked about the quantum wave, particle, wave, and we can turn the wave into a particle, the particle into wave by observation, and we collect massive observation from the upline of massive observation, which can be film stars or music stars. So you see why I collect observation from music stars, because at this juncture of history, we've got a few music stars who collect billions of views, which is useful to me. Whether they want it collected from them or not is irrelevant, because I'm much more powerful than them and I can do to them what I want. As we see with Miley losing her voice, Taylor losing her entire ownership of her, all of her records, Gaga and her massive ill health and falling off the stage and. But these are huge collectors of power. Who can, with psychotronic generators, which collect torsion fields, collect anything, you can collect observation, can be used to manipulate quantum waves. So with your $1,000 service, we can start collecting the quantum wave from your entire life. And instead of having to recollect every single interaction you're doing, we take it to the basic scientific paradigm, which is this quantum wave. Let's collect it. Positive torsion fields collect. Negative torsion fields, which you have in this one, get rid of. So the filaments from other people, we can get rid of with this one. And the positive ones, which we lost to other people by interacting with them, we can recollect. How do we do this? Let's make it very simple. We know that the archetype splits up if we're going to manipulate it. Colin Bloy used to call up archetypes and do things to them, but that's in the general relativity realm. That's the realm of solid. To be able to change them easily, we're going to go to the quantum realm. So we need to have two archetypes. One archetype where we have the quantum wave, where we collect all of the quantum wave we gave to other people. The other one, where we give back to other people the quantum wave that we got from other people, which from shamanism is you breathe, thinking about that event, collecting and then blowing out the filament quantum wave you got from other people. Simply change it to psychotronic generators, which are 5-dimensional, and you've got it embodied in this in your $1,000 service, and you simply can start with, remember, I to the I, so they're both 3 spaces. We can, which adds, so we just bring them up, that's it. Which is bringing back all the filaments from conception to birth. Don't do it in one large jump, because no one in their right mind believes you can do it instantly for your whole lifetime, even though you can. So we're taking it easy steps, because everyone believes you can do it in easy steps. Similarly, we're going to get rid of the filaments that you got from conception to birth. So we start again, but here, minus I to the I. So instead of doing the mantra Om Padme Hum, we've got psychotronic generators. Let's get all the filaments back from conception to birth. And let's get rid of all the filaments, quantum wave, I got from everyone around me. Isn't that easy? We're doing a mantra, but with crystals. And instead of having to remember what happened from conception to birth, which I can't remember, you can bring it into a simple psychotronic crystal, psychotronic generator, mantra, where you're manipulating archetypes. So recollection to get rid of these quantum mechanical linkages, action at a distance, which has been set up throughout your life, has to be dealt with right at the beginning of psychic warfare, because otherwise it's like trying to move from being ill, fucked and aging when you've got harpoons fired into you and linked to every single person that you've ever met. As you can see, that's going to limit your movement. Once they're all gone, you can simply move and be fluid, which is what the shamans talk about. Now, the problem with the Castaneda books is that they're in a old world, pre-scientific language, which doesn't match with the scientific language of today. And all I've done is to develop shamanism, Russian psychic warfare, American psychic warfare, linked with AIs, and link quantum mechanics and general relativity to get the next step. It's not the final step, well, in these videos anyway. When we go into the new religion and we're all the source, then you'll see I've actually got to that step, but that's another story. So continuing, one goes incrementally in steps which you believe work, getting back all of the quantum wave filaments now from conception to one, getting rid of the ones from conception to one. Then we go to 2 and back, and 3 and back, and 4 and back, and 5 and back, and 6 and back. See, we've got a simple mantra, easy, just like doing Omne Padme Hum, and then 7 and then back, 8 and back, and 9 and then back, and then 10 and then back. And the programming in the crystals simply does it for you. Now, why am I going through the science? Because remember, the observer collapses the quantum wave function. So if the observer doesn't understand the science, he can't observe properly. Book. How can you read a book if you can't read? So I can read, so I'm reading the book, I'm the observer who can actually read the book, understands all the principles, can read the book, and you're the little kindergarten children who are going, "Ooh, Daddy, Daddy, please read me a story before I go to bed. Please read a story for me." So it doesn't mean that you have to understand any of this shit. Because from vampire technology, I simply make templates of myself and everyone else gets the effect. I, of course, want to observe, want to know every single detail because I'm a nerd and I love it. I'm really interested in learning how everything works because to me, I get my big thrill out of understanding how things work, how the universe works, and explaining every single detail to myself, not so I can get everyone else going, oh, you're really intelligent. No, it's because that's the love of my life. The love of my life is understanding how things work, the multiverse works, and how to jump out of the multiverse and go beyond the multiverse. And similarly, if you understand that, then of course you can have the love of your life in a woman, because a woman is another physical entity, the opposite side of the soliton, so you can then start learning how the physics of women work, so you can have them as the love of your life. Not simply from emotion, it's by learning how things work. And why in humans you have a male and a female. The male looks inwards and does micro remote viewing. The female looks outwards and does all the macro remote viewing. And you combine them together to get a human. So a human is not actually human unless you've got the merging of a male and a female, which is the Grail state technology, which we can talk about in my new religion, which we'll do next year. Now, one can continue. So we've gone from 1 to 10. Now we go from 10 to 20, because I'm getting a bit bored of doing all this 1 year at a time. Back again. And then 20 to 30. And then 30 to 40. Because if you're an old git like me, I had a lot of years and lots of interactions. Then 40 to 50. Then 50 to 60. God, this guy's old. And then going into the 60 to the present day. So as a 50s child, a boomer, I'm fucking old. So I should be decrepit, fat, old, demented, instead of de-aging. But of course, that's your paradigm. And once you cut all the linkages, you're then in a state of fluidity, which enables you to carry out psychic warfare to cause rapid onset de-aging. Next, of course, we come into the mold of man from shamanism and the Don Juan. Think of it as a template, a quantum mechanical template, an archetype of humans, what humans can be, which is here, the mold of man. And of course, we want to destroy it. Why? Because the mold of man describes what you can be. Well, you know, get up to 70 and then old, dying, cancer, heart attacks, strokes, all from the archetype of man, which was built from the agreement of the human observers in the past. And I don't want to be bound by the consensus of observers in the past, humans, as to my limitations. I've got no limitations. So in shamanism, they call this losing the human form. So we call up the mold of man, there we are, round, our two crystals, and then we have minus I to the eye to destroy it. Bang. Similarly, we call up the mold of man again, but this time, because it's non-abelian, AB does not equal BA, we've got the crystals in a different conformation. Do it again. This sets up a quantum wave in the minus I to the I mode, where both are disassembling. And when I call up the mold of man with respect to me, there we are. See? Let's call up the mold of man with respect to me again. Let's call the mold of man with respect to me again. Let's call the mold of man with respect to me again. As you see, it's getting smaller. Call the Moulder Man with respect to me. Call the Moulder Man with respect to me. Call the Moulder Man with respect to me. And after the 7th iteration, which follows Feigenbaum period doubling, 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, to the strange attractor to the 666 date, pop, it's vanished, and the Moulder Man has gone. So you can actually buy the service where you eliminate the Moulder Man and become fluid. So first of all, we've got recollection, where humans around you, every interaction binds you, and then the archetype, which all the observers, as their observers collapse the quantum wave function to produce reality. So every single human around you, and in the past and in the future, has agreed what you are, and you're locked into it. No way you can change it, unless of course you use the technology to lose your human form. That's what shamans call it, which you've just done. And we've made it so easy by using a couple of psychotronic generators, psychotronic crystals, with the observation all done by me embedded in it. So you don't have to understand every single minute detail, because I want to. I love all that crap. I spent my entire life learning all this. Why? Because I love it. It's my predilection. It's my path with heart. I'm your original nerd who loves all this shit. You know, I'm all through the day just thinking of this crap. Yeah, how's that work? How's that work? Oh, yeah. Why? Because it makes me feel happy. It doesn't make me feel superior to you because, you know, I might get run over by a bus or get an asteroid strike. It's simply something I love. It's my hobby. So my hobby is to understand the multiverse, how it works, and how then to transcend the multiverse. And I do it because it's my hobby. I like it. Some people like Rod Stewart do their model train set and their New York cityscape. Brilliant, absolutely wonderful. Others go bird watching. Others watch porn and wank themselves till they can't wank any longer. You know, whatever. Me, I like learning how the multiverse works. And as you can see, once you've got one observer, you don't need the rest of the human race to achieve that ascendancy, because you only need one observer to collapse the quantum wave function, and then you only need 100 observers to observe that observer, and by the 100th monkey effect, the entire population can do what that one observer can do. So as you can see, evolution is made easy by front runners like myself, who simply do it not to get all the women or the accolades or loads of money, which of course you get anyway, but simply because we want to do it because it's our hobby. And here you see recollection and losing the human form, which one can do in room 18 using archetypes, is a must-do if you wish to de-age and get rid of illness.